Serena called me. I'll catch her afterwards, but she's over at office tomorrow. I wouldn't sit here. I'm live streaming and it catches every word you say. Just going to give you the forewarning. Thank you. It will catch every word you say. Thank you. Watch yourself. You're sitting. Can you take my stuff with me?
You want to sign me and Kirsten in?
I don't know how to spell your name.
I don't care how you spell it. Johnny Pierce. What's the number? Yeah, I said it.
So I had Harry and Johnny, and I was like real careful concerning the two, but I was actually paying attention to what's going on. There was a joke.
Yes, there is a blind pocket, right?
Yeah.
So I got lucky. And she didn't even like it. This would be I'll sign it.
We're having barbecue. Come on up, Connor. You sit back here and talk to me.
We're live in my shoes. I don't recognize it.
Creamer, you're in the front. You're in the front.
I got these numbers. Can I tell you on another board I had 3 and 0? credited not a no-show. Yeah, I know. FYI, friends, it's being live streamed. And the mic's on.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna go.
I got you.
Thank you. Thanks, Shelby.
Oh, yeah, that's probably it's already I think she might have.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start in exactly 2 minutes here. We're going to get these final sign-ins done and we'll get started. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get the program started. I'm going to ask somebody over here on our sign-up sheet if we can take the sign-up sheets to the back of the room and we can finish signing in. Just take the ones for this time slot. Who's the next person in line? We can finish signing up in the back of the room. If anybody would like to space out, we've got permission. You can be socially distanced and take your mask down if you'd like to do that. I want to welcome you all to the secret meeting room. You can turn them back up a little bit, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that this is being filmed. We've got a huge audience at the bus garage that's tying into this presentation as well. So you're going to be forever immortalized in the film of today's session. I want to welcome you here. My name's Tim. I have short hair. Can you say hi, Tim? Hi. There we go. Hey, we want to talk about transformational leadership today. The broadest definition of leadership is someone who influences another person. Show of hands, how many people in this room influence another person? Show of hands, how many parents in this room? How many parents? Show of hands, how many grandparents in this room? I mean, that's the greatest job I've ever had. It took me a long time to get it. Show of hands, any coaches in this room? Anyone coaching young people? Show of hands, who's involved in civic or outside professional associations outside of work? Show of hands. Do we have any volunteer firefighters or EMTs? Show of hands. Folks, in our session today, we only have until 9:20, so someone keep me on time, right? Give me a 5-minute notice. 9:20 we have to end. We only have a short period of time, but we want to talk about some of the most important things in your life. We want to talk about your sacred story a little bit. We want to talk about who are the people that influenced your life. You would not be sitting here in this room if it wasn't for certain people that you crossed paths with. We want to talk about who were those people. We're going to give you a chance to dedicate this session to some of those people. You may want to dedicate the week. You may want to dedicate the balance of this year to them. But we're going to think about them. And what was it about them? We're going to ask you a little bit today about success. How many people want success? Show of hands. All the parents in the room, who want success for your children? Show of hands. We're going to talk about success today. Is it luck or is it predictable? Are some people just lucky? Should we sell the house and buy lottery tickets? Or is it predictable? If it's predictable, we're going to talk about your sacred story, comfort zone and courage zone. When did the greatest things ever happen in your life happen? While you're in your comfort zone or when you're in your courage zone? We want to get into all those things. We only have an hour to do it. But we have to address reality first. Does anybody feel like you're in the gerbil wheel of life running at the speed of heat with your hair on fire? Does anybody feel like Monday looks like Tuesday and Tuesday looks like Wednesday? Does anybody get up first thing in the morning and put Zippo lighter fluid in your hair and light it with a match and then you get in the wheel and you just run? Some days I have to call down to the front desk at the hotel where we're staying and ask what city I'm in. Mr. Ahern, you're in San Francisco. What day is it? I have no idea. It's Friday. What time is it? This is Pacific Coast time, so it's 8 a.m. Do you feel like that? Does anybody feel like that? We're going into year 3 of a global pandemic. We're addressing audiences. There's post-traumatic stress disorder happening. Anybody in this room lose a loved one? This is the first time since World War II the average life expectancy in the United States has gone down. Has anybody lost a loved one during the global pandemic? Has anybody had a loved one that's in a skilled nursing facility where you can't even visit the person, but you go up to the glass and you hold your hand up against the glass and they hold their hand up and you talk to them on a phone? Has anybody struggled with their kids being at home and all the major events in life that you see on the walls of everybody's house have been deferred and canceled? We want to talk about all those things. We want to talk about adversity. And there's a lot of discussion right now about grit and resilience and what is it about people that take setbacks and turn them into comebacks. We want to talk about all those things, but we've got to address the reality of what we're currently in, okay? Can you all turn to page 2 in your packet and just, let's read. By the way, before you read, can everybody do me a favor? Everybody do me a favor. Take one giant, big breath. Take a deep breath, everybody. Big, deep breath. Now let's let it out. Let's box breathe for a second. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Do it with me. Ready? Breathe in. Hold it for 4. Breathe out for 4. Hold it out for 4. We can lower your blood pressure. We can lower your temp, right? We can do some things just to relax. We're in the gerbil wheel. Hair's on fire. Monday looks like Tuesday. First thing we want you to do is get out of the gerbil wheel. Your hair's on fire. Put it out. Take a deep breath. Let's read page 2. Take a minute. Read page 2. with many of our clients going through the world we're going through what's happening today, with many of our clients, we've got them doing gratitude journals. And the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is, what are the things in my life I'm grateful for? Sometimes I have a pity party feeling sorry for myself. I used to feel sorry for myself when I had no shoes until I met a man who had no feet. I had a pity party feeling sorry for myself because the dry cleaner lost my favorite shirt, somebody cut me off on Route 81, but then one of our clients, if you go to our website and look at who we do business with, we do work with all the hospitals. We do work at the Gallisano Children's Hospital. I was having this pity party feeling sorry for myself, and we went up to the pediatric hematology oncology floor. They have red flyer wagons with IV poles. They have tricycles with IV poles, and we saw a bunch of 3 to 6 year olds that have 3 weeks left to live. And I'm feeling sorry for myself about my dry cleaner shirt and this person that cut me off on Route 81. So we start our session, is success luck or is it predictable? Comfort zone and courage zone. Dealing with a global crisis like this pandemic. And we begin with this concept of gratitude. I want to recommend a book to everybody. I wept reading this whole book. I just sat there and wept. Show of hands, has anybody read Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning? It's his experiences in a concentration camp. This is the female version of Viktor Frankl's book. And I mean, you're going to fall in love with this lady. Her first book is The Choice. Her second book is The Gift. I've read both books. You cry and you weep through the both of them. And it fills you with inspiration and hope. And Edith's message to us today at Central Square is, what choice are you going to make first thing in the morning when you get up and get a winter advisory? You made the mistake of turning on the news. You made the mistake of reading the Syracuse paper. Edith's advice to us is, what choice are you going to make when you first wake up in the morning? What choice are you going to make before you go to bed? What choice are you going to make to program your superconscious mind to what you're thinking about all night long? I'm going to read an excerpt from this book. As a teenager, she's growing up in Budapest, Hungary. Her and her family are loaded on a train and taken to Auschwitz. She says, I read how Viktor Frankl marches to his work site in the icy dark. The cold is harsh, the guards are brutal, the prisoners stumble. In the midst of physical pain and dehumanizing injustice, Viktor Frankl flashes on his wife's face. He sees her eyes and his heart blooms with love in the depth of winter. He understands how a man who has nothing left in the world may still know bliss, be it only for a brief moment in the contemplation of his beloved. Now, Edith says, my heart opens. I weep. It is my mother speaking to me from this page. From the oppressive dark of the train, my mother says, just remember, Edith, no one can take away from you what you've put in your mind. We can't choose to vanish the dark, but we can choose to kindle the light. What is the choice we will make? Central Square Red Hawks. It says we're going to empower all students to excel as citizens in a changing world. Whose job is that? Who has the ability to influence students? Anyone who comes in contact with them. Anybody who crosses paths with them. Right? I mean, who has the ability to make the choice? We can't do anything about the dark, but we can decide to rekindle the light, is our message. The end of Points to Ponder says, let's have a good day. I'm going to challenge us, let's have a great day. Let's have a great day today. Good, there's a book, Good to Great, and he talks about the tyranny of the good. Being a good dad is why I'm not a great dad. Being a good husband is why I'm not a great husband. Having a bunch of good schools and good churches, that's why we don't have great schools and great churches. We're going to challenge to have a great day. Here's my numbers. On your packet, if you have a pen, maybe you can write down 27,375. All you need is the top number. The average number of days a person lives is 27,375. Every morning when I get up, I do my numbers. I've lived 24,090. I subtract those numbers. I have 3,285 days left, if I'm lucky. Now, I'm a volunteer firefighter and EMT. On Valentine's Day, we had 5 calls. A CO alarm went off, people almost died sleeping in their bedroom, followed 30 minutes later by a heart attack call. We had a fancy restaurant, a guy flips coming down the steps of the restaurant, whacks his head, he paralyzed. If we're lucky, we get 27,375 days. We're going to hear some stories today where people weren't that lucky. If we're lucky. I have 3,285 days left. I like to divide my number by 7 because I want to know how many Fridays I have left. This Friday, February 18th, 2022, matters. The gift of a day. The gift of a day. And what we choose to do with that day. And who we choose to be. And how we choose to approach life. How we, what I love on this points to ponder, there's one bullet on points to ponder. If you hold up your head with a smile on your face and are truly thankful, you are blessed because the majority can, but most do not. Why? Why not? Why are there so many scowling, frowning, card-carrying members of the Bitch, Moan, and Complain Club? Do you know these people? They got the scowling, frowning face. It scares young children and pets. Do you ever see little kids that run to their parents and grab their legs just by the sight of these people? Who has a dog at home? Do you have a dog that gets all nervous and the hair comes up when somebody comes to your house? Trust the dog. Why are there so many of these energy-draining, parasitic, blood-sucking, card-carrying members of the Bitch, Moan, and Complain Club? Hey, success. Let's go back. You all raised your hand. You want success. You want success for your children. Does anybody know someone that bitched and moaned and complained their way to greatness? I want to dedicate this session. On your worksheet in your packet, you've got a page to make a dedication. Worksheet page 3 in your packet. I'm going to dedicate this session to some people that changed my life. Mrs. Carter, my 4th grade teacher at Bear Road Elementary. I was the biggest loser in Bear Road Elementary School. I grew up on a muck farm. All 4 of my grandparents have their names on the wall at Ellis Island. My dad's parents came from Ireland. My mom's parents came from Italy. I grew up on the Italian muck farm on Bear Road, North Syracuse. They had 4th grade educations and they did not speak English. That's who raised me. Our clothes came out of the basement of St. Rose Church. I never had store-bought clothes. My lunch when I went to school was in a brown paper bag that I had to save and bring back home to reuse. At lunch, no one was ever interested in trading for something that was in my bag for something that was in their fancy lunch box. Just before 4th grade, they found I had an uncle that had tuberculosis. The whole family had to go in for chest x-rays. Everybody was clear but me. Bring Tim back in. He's got a shadow on his lung. It's not TB, it's a spinal tumor. We're going to take that out the summer before 4th grade. It was very invasive. It caused a lot of problems. Dr. Heitzman was the doctor. I was 8 years old. He would say things to my mother when I was in the room. We had stood behind a big machine, and it was an x-ray machine in his office. It was like a flat screen TV. I stood behind it. He put on leather goggles and gloves, and he could look through me. Now, he didn't probably live very long after having this machine in his office every day. While I'm standing behind there and he's looking through the machine, he explains to my mother, he's already got scoliosis. He'll be round-shouldered when this is done. If we can get this tumor out, he's going to lose it. He's not going to be a normal kid. No sports, no gym, no rough activity. And I go to 4th grade with a death sentence for a kid who's already a loser to be a bigger loser. Gym class, sit on a bench. Recess, sit on a bench. All the other kids playing Little League and sports. Mr. Michaels was a custodian. He was so tall he didn't need a ladder to change light bulbs. Mrs. Carter decides, hey, I don't like seeing this kid sitting on a bench at gym. I don't like him sitting on a bench at recess. I'm tall. She says, Mr. Michaels, I'm going to send Timothy with you. And Mr. Michaels took me down and gave me a lesson on cleaning back blackboards. And Mr. Michaels explained that the most important job in the entire Bear Road Elementary School, now I'm old, so these were chalk blackboards, right? And you had to vacuum the chalk tray, you had to vacuum all the erasers, and then here's how you clean the board. And you make sure there's no streaks, and you got to change the water frequently, and you got to do the big square behind it, and then you got to slowly go back and forth. And Mr. Michaels explained to me, by me having cleaned blackboards at Bear Road Elementary School, I went from the biggest loser in the school to the most important person in the building. Mrs. Beamer was the driver of bus 91. I grew up in the produce stand at my grandfather's farm. We were bus number stop 1. And in the morning, there was no one on the bus, so the doors opened up and I walked in, and I don't know where this Mrs. Beamer came from. She must have been who they sent down to Disney World to train all the bus drivers. Mrs. Beamer, she was like the minister of first impressions. When that bus door opened and I walked in, the biggest loser about to go to 4th grade, Timothy, you know, she was beaming smile, greeting me, asking my name. You're a tall person, I want you sitting in the emergency row, and I'm going to pick somebody else to sit with you. Mrs. Beamer treated me like I was somebody. Mr. Michaels, I'm assigned to him, and he tells me I've got the most important job in this whole school. And I took it that way. And then midway through the year, anybody ever have to start school like in January when you had to move and go to a different school? Is that a traumatic experience or what? Like in January of 4th grade, in walks this biggest loser, number 2, to the whole school, Bartholomew. His name was Bartholomew. I've never heard that name before. Does anybody know someone named Bartholomew? His name was Bartholomew O'Neill Murphy, and he stands in front of the room, he's got a cowlick, and he's got Eliwax trying to keep it down, and he's got a tennis sweater, and everybody's looking at this. Look at this. I'm like, thank God there's a new loser to join me in this class. And Mrs. Carter, what does Mrs. Carter do? Mrs. Carter says, Timothy, I want you to be Bartholomew's study buddy. And even though we sit in alphabetical order, Murphy is going to sit right next to seat 1, Ahern. And you two guys, I want you to show him around the school. I want you to do this, I want you to do that. He's going to be assigned during recess to help you with blackboards. Blackboards? Blackboards. Our firm name is Ahern Murphy and Associates. People used to ask us, when did you start your company? And our honest answer is, it began in 4th grade at Bear Road Elementary School. When Mrs. Carter was so in tune with 2 losers, and the best thing that she could do was team up 2 losers to go on a journey together. And we'll talk more about that journey. But you know the sad part of this whole story? I had to do a first day of school program for North Syracuse School District, and it was at their big auditorium, and every seat was filled. And we told the story about Mrs. Carter. There were some people from Bear Road Elementary School. They asked us to go speak at Bear Road Elementary for all the staff. We went back down to the room. But by the time we figured out what happened, by the time you get a chance to reflect on your life and draw your life graph, here's the day I was born, here's the high points, here's the low points. What was it that changed my life? Who were the people that saw things in me that I didn't see in myself? Who were the people that believed in me when I had no belief in myself? Who are the people that went out of their way, right, to guide you on a path through darkness? And by the time you figure out what happened, Mrs. Carter was long gone. And that's why I feel sorry, and I'm so proud of everybody in this room, the profession you've chosen, and the work you do, and the people you get to influence. And you never know. I grew up on a monk farm. If you want to harvest in the fall, you must plant in the spring. There's no other way to have a harvest in the fall. But you're planting seeds. You're planting trees that you'll never have a chance to enjoy the shade. Do you understand that? When I went back to thank Mrs. Carter, she's gone. So we have to thank the proxies. We have to thank people that stand on the shoulders of Mrs. Carter. We all stand on the shoulders of those that came before us. So who's on your page? Do me a favor. Talk to your neighbor, someone sitting next to you, speaking the person's name. is going to pay tribute to them. Everybody give one of the names of the people you're going to dedicate today to, right? The person that changed your life. Everybody take 15 seconds, name that person to someone next to you. Go. Okay. Hey, we spoke the name in here. Take the time today to speak it often. Tell the story. The greatest tribute you can pay to those that came before us, that helped to clear our path, is to share their story. We're going to share some stories today. I worked the corporate world for 20 years. I went to Syracuse University. I grew up on the muck farm. I had no options. We played for Cicero High School before it merged with CNS, a neighbor down the road. Central Square used to be one of the teams we would play against. It used to be the Redmen back then, right? We were the Cicero Golden Eagles. The whole thing's changed, right? Everything's different, right? I had no options. I had no future. I had no hopes, but I could play with pain. And a bunch of these coaches come to my house, and I end up getting a football scholarship to Syracuse University. We're at the produce stand of my grandparents' farm, sitting at the kitchen table. In my kitchen, I have an RV. My son played college football. We followed him, went to all his games in our RV. In my RV, you can sit at the kitchen table, reach the fridge, reach the sink, reach the... You don't have to get up from the table. My house was that way. And these coaches came to my house, and they were at the kitchen table. My mom cried through the whole meeting. And then they explained I would get room, board, tuition, books, and a $15 a month laundry allowance. It changed my life. So you can see here, I'm dating myself. You can see here, we're running out of the tunnel. Our mascot was the Saltine Warrior. We played on real grass. It wasn't turf. There was no roof over our stadium. So I'm dating myself, right? What was the stadium called? What was the name of it? Archbold Stadium. I'll tell you what, there's nothing in the world like 100 sets of metal-tipped spikes, walking on concrete, going out through the tunnel, knowing that it's game day, and you got whoever, Washington or UCLA or one of those teams in the stadium, and we're going to go play against them, right? You can see, this is an assignment I'm going to encourage all of you to do. I never had an About Me slide until 3 years ago when Lindsay Zajac joined our firm. She's a millennial, she's a mom, she's a future of our whole company. She's taken our company to a new direction. She says, Tim, you need an About Me slide. I'm 60-something years old, I'm doing an About Me slide. During the global pandemic, here's the gift of the global pandemic. We learned about the things that matter the most. And we learned about the things that matter the least. We learned there's a bunch of things that we really don't miss and we can live without. We learned that there's a bunch of things we took for granted and we're never going to take them for granted again, right? So what's the whole purpose about this? We can put together in a picture form something that can draw us all closer together. So whether we're having a departmental meeting or talking to a group or speaking, I'm just a nobody. I'm just, what right do I have to be here at Central Square talking to you? I'm the loser that grew up on a muck farm, who went to Syracuse on a football scholarship. Picked my major because I had an academic advisor that told me I was a dumb jock athlete, and here's the only majors you can have. Well, I said, I'm not going to do those. Well, what are you going to do? I picked the one you can't be, an accounting major. I called my mother. I picked my major. What is it? Accounting. Why'd you do that? I have no idea. But it's some guy told me you can't do it. I met my wife at Syracuse University. We're the first husband and wife couple to both become letter winners of distinction at Syracuse University. There's only 1,000 letter winners of distinction there. My wife was one, I was one, we're the first husband and wife team. My children, my family, I couldn't find anything to fill the hole, the feeling, the 100 tips of cleats on the concrete floor, until a really good friend, All-American at Liverpool High School, Chris Gedney, consensus All-American at Syracuse, played for the Bears, played for the Arizona Cardinals. He came to me one day, he was in one of our classes, he said, "Tim, the only thing close to coming out of that tunnel, you gotta join a volunteer fire department. And you gotta be active, you gotta be interior, and you gotta be on a call to a 2-story structure with a family trapped upstairs, getting your gear on, hearing it on the headset, and you're the first unit in, and 2 of you are gonna be search, and 2 are gonna be fire suppression, and you're gonna go up that stairway in the darkness of the thick smoke and heat, and you're gonna go find that family." So my wife is still mad at Chris Gedney for that suggestion, but I found my tribe. I didn't fit at the country club. I didn't fit at these stupid things. I don't belong there. I'm a muck farmer. But I belong with these people. No one cares what you do. All they care is at 3 a.m. when that pager goes off, a bunch of volunteers come to somebody's darkest, worst day. And you do everything you can to try and help make it better. And boy, what did I learn about my regular day job, about comfort zone and courage zone, and having people. It's been a blessing and a gift. So I encourage you all, whether it's your department, either the transportation group, let's do it one bus driver at a time, let's get a little bulletin board, let's one by one, let's do the about me's, let's build a link. Hey, I love your motto here on your opening slide. What does it say here? As one we rise, together we soar. If you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together, right? So that's all this is saying, and here's an opportunity for us to do some of that. Okay, let's talk about transformational leadership. Colin Powell got there the hard way. He didn't go to West Point, he didn't have a fancy degree, he went to New York City College. He finds their way to get there the hard way. There's some great books written about him. He talks about the art of the heart. Leadership, broadest definition is influence. The art of the heart of leadership will always accomplish more than the science of management says is possible. Your own personal experience. Have you ever had people that are really papered up and really smart telling you all the 1,000 reasons why something can't be done ever happen in your life? When a group of people that understand art of the heart, right, the losers, the lowlifes, it's like the Butler basketball team playing against Duke. It's like 1980 Winter Olympics when a bunch of teenagers went to Lake Placid and beat the professional Russian team, right? When art of the heart will defeat the science of management. So let's talk about art of the heart. There's a lot written about it. All of our clients, we do assessments on all of our clients on IQ skills or technical skills, EQ skills, emotional intelligence skills, and AQ skills, adversity quotient. Adversity quotient. Anybody in this room ever have something bad happen? Ever have a ding, a nick, something not go according to plan? Does anybody in this room ever have a major setback, right? That you were in the corner, and if you don't scratch and claw and fight your way back out of that corner, you're going to die in that corner. This is the first time you attended a session where you're going to get extra credit for your scars. So hold on to those. We're going to talk about that. We grade people on technical skills, IQ. We grade people on people skills, EQ. We grade people on adversity quotient, AQ, right? What's the adversity quotient? What's the sacred story? What's the life graph say? So let's look at what is EQ. On the right side, that's what everybody calls our firm to come and help them with. We're Central New York's premier leadership development company. We do high performance teamwork. We do leadership development. We help people jump over bars higher than they thought they could. Everybody wants us to create inspirational leadership and teamwork and help us resolve conflicts effectively. And how can we do a better job teaching, coaching, mentoring, training people, right? How can we do that? How can we influence? Influence is what leadership is, right? So people call us for all the things on the right, but we can't get there unless when you build a house, you got to dig footings and foundations first, right? And then you put the block walls up, and then you can lay the floor, and then you can do the framing, and then they want us to help put the roof on. We got to go back here to this self-awareness. So why is Tim suggesting an about me slide? Who are you? Where do you come from? What makes you tick? What's your sacred story? right? We're all products of our past. I used to be so embarrassed to share any of my past with anybody. I was embarrassed by it. But when you turn it around and look at it, it's my competitive advantage. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of how it was. I'm proud that I learned at age 8 I'm on my own and have to find my way. So self-awareness. Who are you? I've got a life graph assignment in this packet for you when you leave. Take some time with, share it with somebody you really, a real friend, not a cotton candy friend, a real friend. And then once we know who I am and where I come from, we can start getting into the self-control, right? Control. You know, I grew up with nothing, so when my son Tyler would say, Dad, I lost my baseball glove and my bike. Can you take me to Dick's to buy a new glove and a bike? I mean, I would go berserk. My wife would have to lock me in a closet. I can't come out of the closet for like 3 minutes. My blood pressure, I turned red. When I was a kid, if I lost my baseball glove, baseball's over. You know, you now do track. I mean, you don't get a new glove. So we have to be able to you know what it took me a while to learn? Not everybody's like me. Tim, not everybody's like you. You're weird. You're outside the bell-shaped curve. You're one of a kind. Don't expect anybody else to be like you. So be able to control yourself when your son says he lost his bike and his glove and take me to Dick's to buy a new one. Control yourself. Take a deep breath. Adapt. Anybody have to adapt during COVID? Did anybody have to make adapt? You had to adapt daily, right? Every day there was new rules or new regs and crazy people on the, God forbid you watch CNN, you know, you're in the fetal position in your basement refusing ever to get out. Achievement orientation. We're going to give you a page to write down some dreams and goals. You all had dreams and goals. Remember when you were a kid and you had the dream and you used to talk about it and you were courageous enough to tell people? Emotional self-awareness here is having dreams and goals again. You had them when you were 8, you had them when you were 18, and then we crossed them all off the list and then got in the gerbil wheel. So only 3% of the population of 330 million people that live in the United States have some written dreams and goals in writing that they look at and they think about, right? I want you and I want all the students that come through this program that you're going to help prepare them for life. I want them all to have dreams and goals. All the great things that ever happened in your life started there. Next, we get positive outlook. Why did we do points to ponder? Why did we talk about if you have the ability to find the good, right? Be the light. Positive outlook is an emotional intelligence skill. And then we get into, okay, now the first part's all about you. Now we're starting to interact with others. Empathy. Empathy. We had some students here that probably went through a bad time, right? You've had some fellow colleagues on staff that went through a bad time. So when we really start to build empathy, and then this awareness of what's going on around me, organizational awareness. I got all my work done, but my teammate over here doesn't. How can I help? What can I do? How can we get this going? You've got a position description in your packet. What do I do with this? Tim, why are you giving me these stupid forms in this packet? What? Why are they? Page 5 in your packet, position description. Folks, this isn't what sits in a file in HR that says what's the bare minimum I have to do my job. This is you dedicating this page to whoever you wrote on your sheet. Who's the person that changed your life? What would Mrs. Carter say her position description was at 4th grade Bearwood Elementary? What would Mr. Michaels, the janitor that taught me about blackboards, write down his position was? On the first day of school, you know how chaos happens on the first day of school? Everybody misses the bus. All the cars are in the conga line trying to drop kids off. Everybody's milling left and right in the lot. Nobody knows where they're going, what they're doing. The only person at Bearwood Elementary School that knew where everybody should be was Mr. Michaels, the custodian. And he would point people in directions. Name, date, title, direct reports. I don't care if you have no direct reports, 0. It doesn't matter. Direct reports don't matter. How many people do you influence? Trick question. How many people do you influence? Now we go to your most important responsibilities. I don't care whether you're in transportation, food services, custodial team, educational team, what's the number one most important role you play in this organization? Remember, we're going to change the students that come through here. We're going to change their life. We're going to prepare them for the world. What's the number one most important role that you play? What's number two? What's number three? What's number four? We're going to give you some tips as we kind of go through the balance of this hour, so you can write it. You've also got a version 2 of this form, so if we jot down some notes now, and then you say, man, I wish I put those other things in, this form shows up again later in your packet. We calculated how many days you have left. Now we're talking about living that day intentionally. The things that Goethe said in the 1700s, the things that matter the least should never interfere with the things that matter the most. I'm asking everybody in this auditorium, what are the things that matter the most? And no matter what is happening, what is the number one most important thing? What is the number 2 most important thing? What is number 3? Are you with me on that? And then we're going to take our role in this organization. I had a role of cleaning blackboards at Bear Road Elementary School. Most important role, right? What's the important aspect of my role? How do I contribute to the greatness? My little role, my little world, my piece, my slice, the people I interact with. Here's how I bring greatness to this organization. I'm proud of it. And then the area I need to develop. If I had a magic wand that could change 3 things that are standing in my way of greatness, here's what I would change. What would you write? And we're going to give you the magic wand. Today you get the magic wand, right? What's standing in our way of greatness? Comfort zone or courage zone? If somebody says, well, public speaking, but I'm afraid of public speaking, we're going to face our fears and we're going to, right? We're going to go for it. We're going to take ourselves to a new place. Is everybody okay with that? To empower all students. It doesn't say to empower some students. It doesn't say to empower the top 10% of the students. Empower all students. To be mediocre, to just get by, to excel. We're empowering all. I had to go to marriage counseling because I screwed up my marriage so bad. I was a workaholic. I was never home. I missed all the vacations, dance recitals, parent-teacher meetings, birthday parties. My wife says, even when your body comes home, you haven't been home in a decade. We finally go to marriage counseling, and the counselor says, don't ever use absolutes. Don't say all. Don't say, right? I mean, empower all students to excel as citizens in a changing world. The only constant is change, right? The only constant is change. We want to talk about transformational leaders versus transactional managers. We want to talk about transformational parents versus transactional parents. We want to talk about transformational coaches versus transactional coaches. And we're going to use this, when you leave today, we're going to talk about Eagles and Ducks. I know we're the Red Hawks, right? So bear with me for a second. We're going to get to the Red Hawks in a minute. What is it about Eagles? You can see them, they're here again. Anybody see an eagle recently? You go to Destiny USA, you go to the sky deck, the eagles are all around Onondaga Lake. I live in Casanova, we got a little lake, I'm out there fishing, you feel like someone's watching you. You look up in the pine tree, there's an eagle, hoping I throw one of these bass back in for him. They don't hang in a big group. They don't make a bunch of noise, right? When you know, they just catch the wind stream and they soar, right? They just move the tips of the wings and they're soaring up above the top. They're majestic looking. The second you see one, you know. Here, people are like, Tim, why do you pick on the ducks? There's a lot of quacking. There's a lot of crapping. There's more quacking, there's more crapping. They crap and quack, walk around in each other's crap. They crap all over the place, and then they walk all over it, and then you throw one piece of bread and watch 40 ducks fight for the one piece. The ducks all go here together, then the ducks all go over here together. You go to a meeting to talk about something, and it's quacking and crapping and quacking and crapping. You come out and you say, well, what did you talk about? I don't know. It's all crapping and quacking. Well, what are we going to do about it? We're going to quack more and we're going to crap more. That's all I took away from the meeting. we only have till 9:20 in this room with the most important people, right? You are the most important people. We do a rich and famous trivia quiz with we train mucky-muck executives, top-level executives, Fortune 100 companies, big fancy initials. You're at Upstate Medical Center, you should see the initials after some of these people's names. And we're in a room with them and we give them a rich and famous trivia quiz. Who are the richest people in the world? Who are the last 10 winners of Miss America? Who are the last 10 winners of Heisman Trophy? Who are the last 10 winners of the Pulitzer Prize or Nobel Peace Prize? They fail that test miserably. Part 2 is, who are the people that taught you the most worthwhile lessons in life? Who are the people that were there during a difficult time? Who are the people, right? And we give them this part 2 of the test. Guess whose names show up on that test? Top performing, they're your names. They're the Mrs. Carters, they're the Mr. Michaels, right? The most successful people, who are the people that changed their lives? They're your names. But sometimes we get in the gerbil wheel and we forget, right? The seeds we're planting that we won't get the credit for. We're planting the trees we won't feel the shade from. I got some bad news for you, Central Square people. I tried to look up Red Hawks. Google Red Hawks. There's no such thing as a Red Hawk. There's all these sports teams named the Red Hawks. There's hockey teams all over the world. There's all these schools named the Red Hawks. There is something called a red-tailed hawk. Okay, are you with me? So you cannot send a duck to Eagle School or to red-tailed hawk school. Okay, are you with me there? Okay, so here's our red-tailed hawks. Notice the similarity between our red-tailed hawk and the eagle picture that I had for you earlier. So you tailor this thing to talk to your constituents. You tailor this to talk to each other. And what is it about eagles or red-tailed? Let's put eagles and red-tailed hawks in one column, and we'll put ducks in the other column. And what is it about eagles versus ducks? I know if we take tours, a company says we want to hire you to do some training for our company. I'll take a tour with the senior people. We'll walk around the plant. If the person leading the tour says, here's all my subordinates. I don't even like the word. Do you like that word, subordinates? Eagles have followers. Eagles say, hey, I need some help. Would somebody come and help me? The building empties out for them. You can tell the second you're with an eagle, people want to follow them. Our eagles that we work with, people take pay cuts to go work in their department because greatness is going to happen to me being with them. They have followers. All their focus is people. That's all they talk about, the team, the people. I know I'm with a duck when all they do is take me, look at our brand new auditorium, look at the lights up in the bulb. They're ignoring all the people and they're talking about the things, right? Eagles have personal power. It's another word for influence. We said the broadest definition of leadership is influence. They can break the tie on what movie to go see. Ever be with a group of people that can't pick where to go to lunch? An eagle can, we're going to lunch here, right? And they all go. The other people say, screw it, we're not even going to lunch. We can't decide on lunch. Eagles affirm, encourage, and support each other. It's the most powerful tool in a leader's toolbox. In the history of the world, what's accomplished more? Affirmation, encouragement, support, or fear, threat, and intimidation? In the history of the world, this half of the room, we're all going to go coach Little League. All you can do is scream and yell and use fear, threat, and intimidation with your team. This half of the room, you're going to go coach Little League, and all you can do is affirm, encourage, and support the kids. Who's going to win more games? This group's going to beat all those teams, right? Then we're going to switch. These coaches are going to go over here with the kids that lost all the games. Do me a favor, turn to somebody. Let's affirm, encourage, and support somebody right next to you right now. Tell them you're proud of them. Thank them for having your six. Tell them thank you for not giving up during this pandemic. Do it. Affirm somebody. Go. 1, 2, 3. Do it. Good, folks, awesome. Hey, did anybody notice what happens to the energy in a room? When you bring eagles in a room and you start using the greatest tool in the leader's toolbox. Hey, when you go home tonight, any married folks, use it on your spouse. Affirmation, encouragement, support. Tell my wife, Carolyn, you are the most incredible mother and grandmother. You're the greatest thing that ever happened to me. When I met you at 18 years old at Syracuse University, it changed my life, right? Use it with your spouse. Then go with your kids. And then go with your colleagues and the rest of the day today. Continuing down, it's always plural, it's we and us. Eagles inspire. It's from the Latin word inspirare. It means to infuse with air and life. When you're with an eagle, it's like high water that raises all boats. That eagle joins your team, the whole team's at this level. The eagle walks into the weight room, everybody's at this level. The eagle walks into the project, everybody comes here, right? They inspire, they infuse people with air and life. The ducks are sucking the life and energy out of people. They're energy draining and parasitic, right? They light fires inside. We actually had a client this week call us, potential client. Tim, I heard a lot of great things about your company. I got all bad people working for me. I need you to go down into the factory and light a fire under those people. We don't do that. Here's a bunch of consultants you can hire to go scream at people. Eagles light fires inside. Mrs. Carter found a way to take the most discouraged, disillusioned kid in the whole school and put a little fire, a little flame, just a spark. Mr. Michaels, Mrs. Beamer, the Minister of First Impressions for the whole school district, driving bus 91. The lunch ladies going through the line. I never could buy lunch, 3 pennies for a milk. My mother had to scrounge in the change jar to get the 3 pennies in the morning. Lighting a fire inside. Eagles make connections. Ducks send emails. And I sent you the text. How about this idiot that fired 500 people in a Zoom meeting? Eagles walk in with solutions. The ducks come in with 1,000 reasons it won't work. An eagle walks in and says, here's the 1 or 2 ways it can. I understand there's 1,000 reasons this might not work. Here's, with the team we have, here's the 1 or 2 ways we can make it happen. I have absolute faith and confidence in this team that we can do it. Eagles stoke the flame. The ducks are the super soakers. Anybody ever get super soakers for their kids? You're trying to light a birthday candle and they're just got the super soaker. You share a dream with them. You can't do that. Who the hell do you think you are? You'll never be able to write a book. You'll never be able to. There's a great book, Kouzes and Posner, were prestigious deans at Santa Clara University. They took for 40 years they've been studying leadership. They took a 5-year sabbatical, studied the greatest leaders of all time. They wrote a book called The Leadership Challenge. These are the questions for leaders, for my parents. These are the questions for parents, right? What values should guide our actions as parents? It's not the words nor spoken pleas will teach our children how to be, nor all the books on all the shelves, but how the parents are themselves. Let's come to Central Square Redhawks. The building fills back up a week from Monday, right? All those students, here they come. And the world has all kinds of opinions about who they can or can't be. And those students walk in here. It's not the words nor spoken pleas will teach all those students how to be, nor all the books on all the shelves, but how all the staff in this building are themselves. All the values, what we're trying to teach them. Is integrity important? They're learning it from you. Is having empathy important? They're learning it from you. Whose job is it to be a role model at this school? We normally, when we're working with young people, we start with an apology. On behalf of my generation, I want to apologize to your generation, because we have really let your generation down. We don't have the kind of role models that we should have provided for you. You are the role models. How you stand, how you walk, how you enter a room. They watch you park. You're on film. They watch you walk across the lot. They watch you walk down the hall. They watch you when something great just happened. What do? They watch you when something horrible happens. What do? They're watching every single move you make. So going back to that position description, whose job is it to bring the values to life? Whose job is it to be a role model, no matter what my role is here? Whose job is it to talk about the dream, the future? Is this real, or did some marketing person write it about empowering all students to excel as citizens? Who are the examples? Let's do a board out front. Here's the kids. Here's a kid that grew up. Here they are, the pride and joy of the Red Hawks. Whose job is it to inspire? Whose job is it to inspire the people in this building? If we're not doing these things, who's doing it? No one. If they're not getting it here, who's getting it? Where are they going to get it? No place. Whose job is it? Hey, does work at Central Square, Central Schools have to be a baton death march? Whose job is it to bring joy and celebration to the workplace? Whose job is it to say, hey, let's go, let's make this thing happen, let's do this thing, let's catch people doing it right, let's have a celebratory type place, let's bring joy and celebration to everything we do. We work with the emergency rooms at all the hospitals. We're with the surgical intensive care unit. They just had a kid airlifted in who was beaten to death by his parents, and they're bringing him back to life. Trust me, in that environment, they're going to bring joy and celebration into that debrief room. They're going to find a way. Self-confidence, leadership. So you've got this full-size page. Maybe some of these things go back to your position description. You with me? But it's just such a great reminder. All their work ended up in coming up with the 5 verbs of leadership. You have this page as well. Page 8. Kuzis and Posner, Santa Clara University, the Leadership Challenge. You don't even need to buy the book now. Tim's giving you the questions on the final exam. Tim's giving you what the 5 verbs are. Later, Tim's going to give you an assessment page in the back of your packet where you can grade yourself on all these things. You want to be a great leader? You want to be a great mom? You want to be a great Little League coach? You want to be a great anything? Be a role model. Inspire. Challenge complacency and status quo. Enable people to jump over bars higher than they thought they could, see things in people that they don't see in themselves, and last, encourage people's hearts. That's Gandhi, Mother Teresa, the greatest leaders in the history of the world. Mrs. Carter, Mr. Michaels, Mrs. Beamer. Those are the things that they did. Folks, there's a bunch of people in here. We had a traffic jam trying to sign in. But this meeting isn't a bunch of people. This meeting's a one-on-one meeting with me and you. Now, I can't come and spend 468 hours with that many one-on-one meetings. But I want you to act like this is me and you. This is just a one-on-one meeting. Right? And it's about you, your sacred story. Let's get back in touch with it. Let's break some myths. Here's what we say. We get to this point and everybody's like, Tim, yeah, I buy it. It's great. I love it. But then we get the buts. Tim, I love everything you're talking about. But then we get, but I'm not a natural born leader. Well, look at the integrity baby in the back row next to the inspire the other babies. There's the role model baby. There's the chief influence, right? When I take you to we work at the maternity wards. That's where you walk in there. I had twin daughters at first. We didn't know what to name them, so they put Ahern on one and Behern on the other. You look at the bassinets, all the babies have the potential to be these great leaders, but they don't have, so stop with the excuse, I'm not a natural born leader. Then they give me this, well, Tim, this is all great, but I'm just a level 3, I'm not a level 7, I'm not a mucky muck, I don't have a corner office with a shag carpet in it, right? This doesn't apply to me. You don't need a title to be a leader. At age 11, this young girl decides she thinks it's unfair that girls in Pakistan can't be educated. She starts a blog, believe it or not. 11 and 12 years old, they're telling her, you stop this blog. They keep threatening her, you stop this blog. She can't get educated enough in her own village. She's got to take a bus to another village to get to the next level. At age 15, she's shot point blank in the face to stop this craziness about young girls being educated. She's airlifted to England for surgical reconstruction. Age 16, she writes a book, I Am Malala. Age 17, she's the youngest person to ever win the Nobel Peace Prize. Was she a natural born leader? What was her title? Terry Fox is an 18-year-old kid in Canada. There's a statue dedicated to him in Ottawa. You can't see it right now because the trucks are all in the way. There's a statue to Terry Fox in Ottawa. He's been named the greatest athlete ever to live in Canada. Diagnosed with bone cancer at age 18, cut his leg off, right leg above the knee. Took him a long time to figure out how to be able to walk again with a prosthesis. During treatment, he was a real positive attitude kid. He had everything going for him. His whole life was turned upside down. He had the courage, though, to keep fighting, right? It says of the doctors, how can we land a man on the moon but can't cure cancer? Well, Terry, we don't have enough money. How much money do you need, he says. I'll go get it. He starts the Marathon of Hope. He dips his artificial leg in the Atlantic Ocean. Go to www.terryfox.com. You can read his diary. They did an E60 esports series on him at ESPN. He dips his artificial leg in the ocean and starts running. The black bands are there, the flag waving, all the news cameras. Anybody in the room ever run a marathon? Who's ever run a marathon? He runs 26 miles a day, 123 straight days. He runs 3,360 miles. Canada is 4,860. He runs 68% of the way across Canada, running all day long and speaking at banquets at night to raise money. In his diary, you'll read I wonder if anyone knows this is the last day that I'll run. This young man ran across Canada until he died. So he's a failure, right? He set a lofty goal to run across Canada, and he only made it 3,360 miles. He had a goal to raise $20 million, $1 from each Canadian at the time. He raised nowhere near $20 million. So Terry Fox and all, he's a failure, correct? Far better is it to dare mighty things and win glorious triumphs, even if checkered by failure, than to rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy much nor suffer much, because they live in the great twilight that knows not victory nor defeat. That's a Teddy Roosevelt quote that he said in 1900 at the scene of a team that he brought down to do the Panama Canal after the French had failed, right? They run the Marathon of Hope in Terry Fox's memory every year. They've raised $750 million for cancer research because an 18-year-old kid, he wasn't a natural born leader. He wasn't 6'4" and blonde hair and blue-eyed, right? He had no title. Model, inspire, challenge, enable, encourage. When you leave today, Tim's going to make you all CEOs. Hey, what happened at the first workshop? Tim made us all CEOs. Raise your right hands. Repeat after me. I, state your name, right? We're going to do the whole thing. When you walk out of this room, I want you to take all these 5 verbs, and hopefully they find their way into that position description of you. These are the things that matter the most. All the other stuff. This is what matters the most. And when you leave today, we're going to make you all Chief Encouragement Officers. Are you up for that? Chief Encouragement Officer. They don't even have through-A booths anymore. Remember the poor guy handing out through-A tickets? He had one chapped hand. If they still had them, you would encourage that person. Encourage the lady at the Rite Aid. Encourage the person outside serving us coffee when we go back out. The world we live in needs Chief Encouragement Officers. Has anybody in this room ever been discouraged, disillusioned, this close to giving up? Has it ever happened to anybody? To whom do you turn to have your heart be encouraged? We sit in rooms every single day. We had 3 meetings yesterday with clients. Write down, who are your chief encouragers? They can't think of anybody. And we're not going on to the next page until you write somebody down. And then they tell them, well, I got a 2-year-old granddaughter, Delane, that thinks I'm really special. I've got a golden Labrador retriever that's so proud of me that I found my way home, right? The dog is my chief encouragement officer. You've got this page. I talked about writing down success. You got to hit this. Page 10 in your packet. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go down memory lane and have some fun with it. When you were 8, what was success? Getting a 2-wheel bike, learning to write cursive, learning to tie my shoe, being able to stay up late with my brothers and sisters, Not being picked last on the kickball team. Write down what was success. Getting a pumpkin sticker from the teacher with a smile face. Remember what you would do to get a pumpkin sticker? Now we're 18, what's success? Boyfriend or girlfriend? I can't drive mom's Dodge Caravan, I gotta get a job so I can buy my own set of wheels, right? Getting out of this school, it's too small for me. Getting into this bigger place, joining the military, cleaning railroad tracks in the Yukon, whatever it was at 18. Think back and celebrate 18. All of a sudden, time flying, now we're all 28, what's success? It's all different things. My challenge for all of you today, today's date, February 18th. I don't have many Fridays left. February 18th. What's success for you today? Future, go out 20 years. February 18th, 2042. Everybody add 20 years to your age. Don't say the number out loud. 20 years from today, we're reserving this room. You're all going to come back. We're going to do show and tell. Your life turned out to be the most incredible success story beyond your wildest imagination. Things you never thought were possible have happened for you. Books you wrote, letters you received, thank you letters, things you gave away, causes you fought for. They dedicated a statue in your honor in your hometown like they did for Terry Fox. What's the plaque say? I'm going to ask you, successful people don't just end up someplace. They'll tell you, I sat in an auditorium one day, we were told to dream, we wrote these things down. We started at Hearn Murphy in 1998. That's more than 20 years ago. You know how often I get a page like this in the mail? Somebody I can't even remember who they were or what the company was. And all these things everybody laughed and snickered at when they wrote down and they've shared it with somebody next to them. You could never. And there's a check mark next to every single one. Success is not luck. It's predictable. All the great things that ever happen in your life begin with a dream. You're going to model setting goals and laying down dreams. You're going to model being courageous and sharing dreams. And if people aren't snickering and giggling around you when you share the dream, it's not bold enough. They're snickering and giggling at you because they can't do it. It's not bold enough. When you send a duck to go visit the Grand Canyon, they complain about the flight, the heat, the peanuts on the plane, too much ice in the drink, how hot it is in Vegas, the cab ride sucks, and all I got to the canyon, it's just a bunch of dirt. You send an eagle to the canyon, they work on their dreams and goals on the flight, they look out the window on how magnificent our country is. You fly over the Rockies, you come into Vegas. How did they build this city in the middle of the desert? Out of nothing. And all these people, it's unbelievable. They go to the canyon at sunset, the sun goes up against a wall and all the minerals sparkle. And the eagle saw one of the 7 wonders of the world and comes back inspired with a whole boost of energy. And the duck comes back, it's just a bunch of dirt. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. When we get up in the drone and look down at Central Square schools, we can look at it 2 ways. Here's how a duck would look at it, and here's how an eagle would look at it. I don't know, there's 100 and something people in this room, and 99 people may say, this is the biggest bunch of hogwash I have ever heard in my entire life. Who is this 2-bit Yahoo that they brought in here to talk to us at 8 o'clock damn in the morning? Jesus, I thought we had a 2-hour delay and I got forced at gunpoint to go in and hear some knucklehead talk to me about eagles and ducks and quacking and cracking. If 99 people out of the 100 here think it's a bunch of hogwash, I'm okay with that, as long as there's one. If there is one person in this room that walks out of this room and that fire that they used to have raging inside, which was barely warm embers, they got that thing to spark again, and they're committed to go help light the fires in others. If it happened to one, if it's set from the bus garage there in Central Square, if it's the bus garage team, and we've got the next Mrs. Beamer, whoever's driving bus 91, that's a sacred bus, then I'm okay. I'm good. One person with courage is the majority. We get to choose what end of the pool we want to live in. We get to choose, ladies and gentlemen. Page 11 in your packet. We call this the swimming pool of life. You get to make a choice. We're coming to the close. You get to make a choice. Which end of the pool do you want to live in? You've all heard of the 80-20 rule, the Pareto curve, the law of averages, etc. In the swimming pool of life, where's 80% of the water in the swimming pool of life? Deep end or shallow end? Deep end, right? In the swimming pool of life, where do people spend 80% of their time? Have you ever been to the swimming pool? Go down to the swimming pool at the Holiday Inn. Where is everybody? Deep end or shallow end? They're all in the shallow end, right? Everybody lives in the shallow end. They like the shallow end. The water's warm, that's where all the kids pee. Everybody's just milling around in there. They're pretending they're doing laps. They got their feet on the bottom. They're not even swimming. They're just all standing there. They're all bitching and moaning and complaining. They're talking about, do you believe what Susie wore today? They're talking about other people. They're spreading gossip. But there's some people, like what we want to teach our students here at Central Square. When you go into that big wide world out there, most people in that world, some people don't even get in the pool. They put lotions, potions, and gels on, and they got magazines, and they say they're at the pool all day. They didn't get a drop of water on them, right? They're outside the pool. 80% of the people are in the shallow end where all the kids are peeing and pretending they're doing. And then there's people like you who modeled, inspired, and challenged, enabled, and encouraged them. And you taught them about dreams and writing dreams down. You taught them about taking some of those dreams and making them goals. That kid in school that they said you'll never amount to anything, you didn't let that fly. You're going to talk about values and beliefs and how you were such a role model for what some of those words mean. What does integrity mean? What does commitment mean? What does excellence mean? What does teamwork even mean? And then you faced your fear. You got into your courage zone. Anytime you step out of your comfort zone, when you go home today, I want you to drive a completely different way. I want you to intentionally get lost and see if you can find your way back home. When you go to a Chinese restaurant, I want you to order something you have no idea what it is. Just order that and eat it, right? Anytime we get out of our comfort zone, we're in our courage zone, your comfort zone expands, right? The person no one ever sits with at lunch, I want you to go sit with that person. We're going to face our fears. Public speaking is your fear. Give 10 speeches next year, right? We're going to line them up. And we touch the dream, we know who we are. Ladies and gentlemen, you're sailing ships. You're not meant to be tied up at a dock. You're not meant to do what's easy and convenient and popular. We don't expect that of our students. We don't expect it of our children. We're going to do what's right. Right? We're going to be red-tailed hawks or eagles or whatever you want to call it. You've got my contact information in this packet. You've got my phone and my email. If you've got a question about any of these forms or some of the books we mentioned, shoot me an email and we can get you whatever information you have. I want to thank you for your attention. I want to thank you for your courage. I want to encourage you, these chief encouragement officers, when you leave, and take all this stuff to heart. Everybody good? Charge, thank you.
I tried to see who wasn't there, but I knew he was in here, like, but then I heard.
Oh yeah, yeah, no
Like,
worries.
like, we're gonna, like,
That's how you're about to go up and start signing. It's about to start.
Next page.
sign-ins are right over here. Don't forget to skip, and these days are stressful for me. It's gonna go right, not gonna go right.
Everything's going on.
Yep. Get in your office, so I don't have to do my lunch.
So did that. I gave her credit. She said,
No, I like to sit there. I like the light when you go out from under this. It's so bright. Of course, maybe he'll make us all come down. Here. Between us, can you see that microphone? And I don't have that right.
That's why I always say their past, right? Where does he go?
No, I like that we do it, and I love that a lot of the sixth graders know how to do it, and maybe I will capture that. But I really, honestly, I'm not looking to put more in my repertoire. Just not, I know.
Like, you know, how did it go?
Well, you capture things you have to learn. I really do. I mean, canvas, and if I didn't tell you someone you were coming back, just
I forgot what my name was.
I was already there. I can't on your Hey, Matt.
I recorded myself. I never taught on.
I should be on.
And then to camp, he said, I'm glad I didn't have it now because everything's there. So I do love that.
You still have to sign in this Friday, but I never.
Post office. Don't let me check in and say at the door where we came for our shop.
time you tell, or no, you're in front of me. You're always one step ahead of me. And as a cook, I can try. Early retirement.
What else supposed to be here? I don't know, but you gotta ask everyone. If it's okay with all.
I open the door and let him in. Well, that's all on my fault. I know. Right there.
I mean.
You know. Decided to do it now. I know, she's more the enforcer now. She's our crack on them.
You're talking to each other, they're watching you online. Was this video in? I'm sure. Because I haven't shut it off yet.